one. You don't want to be putting about the dog next door if your content, if your business is about art. Unless you're obviously talking about the dog that you're going to paint next door, or, you know, put a collage together or something like that, different. So you don't want to waste your time on content that's not relevant to your business objectives. Make sure that content meets your business objectives.
This is the Business Owners Smashing It Online podcast for entrepreneurs and business owners looking for cool online tools, apps and strategies to make business easy online. My name is Nick Cree and I'm your host. Each episode features a guest expert demystifying the online universe, sharing inspirational ideas and providing tested real-world strategies to help you get the most of what's available online to grow your business today. Don't be a slave to your business, get your business working for you. Subscribe now and get some great content and ideas for you and your business today. All right, well, that brings us to the main billing this evening. So it's my great pleasure to introduce you to Wanita. We've sort of been in touch we've sort of been online. I'm not sure who's been stalking who or whether we've just sort of seen each other online. Yeah, it's probably me. I think I was the stalker. But and we've sort of connected on and off over the years. Not sort of a lot, but we just happened to catch up. It was probably only a couple of months ago. I think we ended up sort of at a coffee shop chatting and ended up having a good long chat and lots of things in common. And Wanita's a fascinating person, and she has run the social media conference in Australia and for New Zealand. So she's very well connected in the social media community. If you haven't heard of her before, it's because she's well connected with all the social media peeps. So we've got someone who's an expert in this field, who organises the conference, who knows a heck of a lot about the social media platform. She's originally from South Africa. She's lived in New Zealand. She's over here in Australia now, so she's truly an international person. So let's put your hands together and let's give a big warm welcome to Wanita.
Woohoo! And you're all on mute, so I can't even hear the clapping.
This is the silent clap.
The silent clap. Nick, just before I start, I did want to tell you that on Apple phones, there is an app that actually comes with the Apple phone called Measure, which is a measuring tape that you just use your phone and point from one end to the other.
I think that is the one. So I just happened to discover it on my phone. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah. Yep.
Brilliant. I had to measure for a fridge the other day. All right. Hi, everyone. And thank you so much. It's really great for me to be here. I appreciate Nick inviting me. What I've been tasked to talk about for the next hour is social media strategy. And so when you were introducing yourself, a lot of you have asked me questions that are quite, that go into more of the operational side of things as opposed to the strategic side of things. So what I'm going to do, I prepared a presentation. What I'm going to do is I'll go through the presentation, but at points where you want to ask questions, stop and ask me the questions. And if there's specific questions like you've asked me in the introduction, ask the questions at that point. And then what I will do is I might switch the presentation around a little bit just so that I can answer some of the questions that have come through. In the presentation itself, there are some of the answers there already for questions that were asked. So if I don't cover everything, just know that when I run a social media strategy workshop, it's a whole day. And we go through everything from beginning to end. And then there's content workshops. So actually running workshops where we work out everything to do with content. And there are video workshops. So there's a lot in social media that you potentially might need to know, but once you know it, you'll just pick up what you need and then move your business forward. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to share my screen and put that up. And there we go. Okay, so the presentation is to discover how to build your social media strategy to propel your business into 2021. As I said, it's huge. So therefore, I've picked out specific things that I think might help you, but if they're not, ask the questions. So just a little bit about me. Let me just get the slideshow up from the beginning. Here we go. Can you see that? You shake your heads, yes? Cool, okay, great. All right, so just a little bit about me. I've been on national television. This is a lovely little group that I trained. These are all the business owners in the Great Barrier Island in New Zealand. And what I really love this, and it's close to my heart, is these people knew nothing about social media, digital marketing, and are quite disconnected Wi-Fi wise and internet, etc. So getting them in and showing them and teaching them, and some of these businesses are just flying and doing absolutely amazing. The woman at the back with the purple hair, his daughter's just won the Youth Leader of the Year award, which is fantastic. I've been in national magazines. Universities call me in to do talks as well. And as Nick said, I run the social media conference, as well as being invited to podcasts, and sometimes in my field being the only female sometimes. Although social media, there's a lot of women in here, so it's a really great field to be in. What I've been asked to cover and what I will cover is business objectives that are aligned to your social media objectives. How do people experience your brand? Who's your target audience? A really brief overview of the social media channels and how we can use them for different businesses, your customer experience channels and your sales channels. Now, there are some questions coming through. So if there are questions, will somebody just let me know and I will answer them as we go. Nick, would you? Or
I'll let you know. Yep, we've just got Jane here who said she's dragged her husband in to listen for a while. He owns a renovations and extensions business here on the Gold.
Hi. What's your husband's name?
His name is Neil, and he actually won in the franchise that he owns, Smith & Sons Renovations. He actually won the social media for the year award.
Awesome.
And I won International Franchise of the Year.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you want to come and do the presentation? Okay, so I'm going to start with the social media and digital marketing blueprint. And the reason why I want to start here, I don't want you to get overwhelmed with this, but what I want to do is really have your eyes opened to what it actually means to run a business online. Because a lot of people that I come across will connect with me and say to me, oh, you know what, I need to post content on my social media. And it's about posting content. It isn't. Social media is about everything to do with your business. So if you think about old traditional ways of doing things, all of that has been incorporated into social media, plus communications, plus your call center kind of stuff, connecting with clients. And it's all 24/7 in real time, depending on how you want to run your business. So to run a business or a digital and social media marketing business online, it's not just the one thing. It is a massively expansive, and you have to look at every single area for it to work properly. So let's show you this. As I said, don't get overwhelmed by this, but this is social media and digital marketing. It's a blueprint on a page. And these are the things that you have to do to make your business run properly. So in the middle where you have the, if I move my mouse around, can you see my mouse? Yes, okay, great. So if I move my mouse around in the middle over here, this here has got all to do with strategy and policy and planning, this whole area over here. This here, you cannot go without doing to run your business properly online. This here is all to do with content and different types of content that you can put online. You don't have to do all of this, but this is just giving you examples of the kind of things that you could put online. Obviously, posting is, you know, every single channel does posting. This over here is measuring anything, ways of measuring how your social media and digital marketing are moving ahead. And there's some examples over there. So you can't just put your business up, post, and then go, well, that's it. You know, I'm just going to answer questions. You need to understand what's happening with your customers. You need to understand how they're connecting with you, where they're connecting with you, what are they saying, how are they experiencing your brand, which is up here. So your brand voice, etc. And then this over here, you'll see this little line goes here. This over here is all the popular social media channels at the moment. It was interesting that you said Pinterest is not a social media channel. It very much is. It's considered a social media channel. And I will go through these in a little bit more detail, but I haven't got a lot on Pinterest. It's to say to you that Pinterest is one of the highest selling social media channels. So if you are in that field where Pinterest suits you, 80% of sales can be made on Pinterest as opposed to the other channels. And then over here, so a lot of people think the website is every single thing. You have to have your website, but it's got to be connected with all of this. All of this has got to be connected. So the websites, I've put 3 different kinds of websites here. You have your normal website. You could potentially use somebody else's website to sell. So Amazon, eBay, or Craigslist or anything like that. And you could also do affiliate marketing, which you use affiliate websites to sell, or you'll put affiliate links onto your own website. Now, have I lost anyone? No, all good. Great. Okay, excellent. All right, so you can see that there's a lot to go through. If you're truly actually going to do a strategy, what will happen is we go through every single thing and work out where you're at, where your gaps are at, what do you need to do to change to make your business work online. It might be just 1 or 2 tweaks, or it might be a whole overhaul of what you're doing and, you know, what you're promoting, etc. Okay. So really in the online space, very simply, you need to know what you're selling and you need to know who will buy it. That's as simplistic as it's going to be. And saying that, a lot of people, when you look at product, there's so much that you can do with your product to sell it online. So for any of you that are doing, that are selling something that is physical, one thing I would say to you is make sure that the packaging is really good. Really put an effort into packaging, because that makes a big difference. And TikTok is one of the best platforms to go to show what you're selling. If it's physical, to actually do unboxings and show people how you are, how you're putting your product together, even making the product. So I think, Jane, was it you or who was it that said that they're doing the art?
Yes, that was me. And my my packaging is all splattered onto the envelopes. I haven't got one here to show you, but it's all splattered paint onto the packaging. So the post office always love me.
So that really does that kind of brand with what you're doing.
Yeah, and it does. But I never thought on TikTok, so I'm going to have to do that tomorrow. Okay,
so TikTok, amazing for that. I would definitely be thinking about TikTok to use it. And TikTok is also great for advertising. And TikTok is one of the fastest platforms that are growing at the moment in Australia. Okay, so you'll see that I've put the blueprint up again, and I'll keep putting it up so that, and everything highlighted in green is where I'm going to take you on the blueprint just so that you can see where we're at and what we're doing. Again, I'm not covering every single thing, but if there is something that you want me to cover, I will. All right, so here's a little exercise for you. You're going to score yourself out of 40, have a little bit of a play. On a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being I definitely don't do this, I don't have it, I haven't even thought about it, to 5, yes, I absolutely do this, I'm really great at it, and I do everything right. Score yourself for these. So we'll just go through them quickly. You have an updated social media strategy that you use regularly, and these include your key objectives. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you and or your staff, whether you outsource those staff or whether they're in-house, have seen and understand your social media strategy. If you don't have staff, have you looked at your social media strategy lately? Or did you do it and put it into a drawer and forget about it? Because strategy is vibrant, strategy is flexible. You've got to be looking at it all the time to make sure that you're following it and that you are breaking it down into quarters so that you can meet your objectives. Okay. Do you have a branding strategy document that can be shared easily with relevant people? And as I go through this, I'm going to talk through these. So a branding strategy document is vitally important. And I'd say to you about 80% of businesses that I come across don't have one. So branding strategy really sets forth exactly what your brand is about, what your bylines are, what you stand for, your values, everything else, but it also will put in your branding collateral. So branding collateral, then what's your logo? How does your logo get used? What are your colors? Right down to your website. What kind of fonts do you use on your website? What kind of fonts do you use in letters, etc.? This is very, very important because when you are outsourcing, so as you grow and you outsource, or you decide you want to rebuild your website or you want to pull somebody in to help you with your website, this is one of the best documents that you hand over and go, this is how we do stuff here. This is our branding. This is how we move forward. And in the branding document, it will also have things like your brand voice. So how do you talk to people? And I'll go through that with you in a little bit more detail. But it'll have all that in so that you, yourself, can know, because it will highlight for you where the gaps are in your business. But also for you to hand it over to somebody, it makes life so much easier. So if you're doing outsourcing, because Nick's done a whole lot of information on outsourcing and things like that, people that you're outsourcing to love this kind of stuff because it just makes their life easier. Then, so rate yourself on a 1 to 5. Then do you have a content strategy and plan? Now, for content, a strategy will just talk around at a high level what kind of content you're looking at and what you want to do with the content, what your expectations are. It will also go into things like, what kind of advertising do you want to do with the content? But the plan will plan out exactly what kind of content you want to post, how often you want to post, and at what times you want to post. So content really, the plan really helps you to look at what kind of content you're putting out. In terms of content, because I'm not going to, it's a whole presentation on its own. And if Nick wants to invite me back, I'll do a whole thing for you on content. But just quickly in terms of content, if you're looking at putting a content plan together, make sure that you've got things that you can plan out, but also things that you can do in the spur of the moment. So you don't use your content and plan everything out. You need to be in the spur of the moment. Live videos are very, very important. Stories are very important. So you've got to plan your content in a way that you kind of know what your theme is, where you're going, what you want to discuss. And all of that content has to be linked back to what your key objectives are and your key strategies are. You don't want to be putting content in about the dog next door, with all due respect, Ron, with what you do. So excluding Ron, you don't want to be putting about the dog next door if your content, if your business is about art. Unless you're obviously talking about the dog that you're going to paint next door, or, you know, put a collage together or something like that, different. So you don't want to waste your time on content that's not relevant to your business objectives. Make sure that content meets your business objectives. Okay. Okay. So you can rate yourselves from 1 to 5. And then, do you have a video plan? And if you work with an external party, this can be shared, right? So video plan for small businesses, generally, it's really great to have it, because again, like your branding strategy, if you get somebody in to do a website video for you that's very professional, the video plan will help them to understand what it is that you want to do. I'm not talking about a script, but things like, for example, at the bottom of your video, when you have the transcripts, like your fonts that you're going to be using, or how those are set out, it's very important to have that in the video plan. So rate yourself from 1 to 5, and then do your customers know what you actually do? And can your customer articulate back to you what it is that you do? And do you think they can? So rate that on a 1 to 5. And then can you tell me what you do in 30 seconds to a minute, so that I can understand, or anybody that you meet, and rate that from a 1 to 5. And then add up your scores and tell me what you got. Yeah, they're going in. Nick, do you want to tell me what the scores are coming through, please?
All right, so we've got a 21, 24. So waiting for the others to go in. I think I might have been a bit hard on myself. I've just given myself a 24.
Well, you know what, you go with your gut for what you think.
Yep, 20. All right, how are we going there with the calculation? Just pop it into the chat there. We've got 21, 24, 20.
So already from a strategic perspective, you'll know where your gaps are. Straight from here, you'll know what you want to do when you're moving forward, and you know some of the things that you want to work on. As I said, this is only one part of the social media strategy. All right, so let's talk about your 3 key business objectives. So whenever I start with a social media and digital marketing strategy, the first question I ask any business is, what are your 3 key business objectives? Because you cannot do social media or digital marketing unless you understand what that is and you can articulate it. So forget about doing social media and digital marketing if you can't. This is extremely, extremely important. And the reason why is because if you say, for example, and I'm going to put one over here. So one of those key objectives need to be a money objective. So how much money is your company going to make for 2021? If you're uncomfortable about that, you need to get comfortable with the money objective, because the money objective is very, very important to know how you're going to move your business forward with social media. If anybody here is in the space of going, oh, you know what, I'm not comfortable having a money objective, then you need to shift your mindset, because then you're not running a business. Okay. Of course, that, and there are the exceptions to that, but even running the business with the RSL, for example, even though that's not for profit, you still have staff there that you've got to pay. You still run a business within those kind of within the RSL. Am I correct in saying that? So you're still doing profit, losses, balance sheets, etc. Okay, so if you're a business, I want to know how much money you're going to make for 2021. And so moving forward, I'm just going to cover the one objective, but when you get off here, you need to do your other 2 objectives, and you can go right up to 5 objectives. I wouldn't have more than 6 maximum. So SMART objectives, they need to be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time sensitive. Okay. Oopsie, I pressed the wrong button. Right. This is one objective. So let's be very clear, because a lot of people will say things like, I want to make 100,000 K for the year. And that's it. So what does that actually mean? So let's go. I want to make $1 million by December 2021. This will be done through marketing and advertising strategies. By the way, the money objective for this is a company selling strategy, coaching, and training programs. As defined in the strategy document, we expect the first quarter to be slower in growth while we brand and grow our business so that it's known. We expect to make 150K in the first quarter, 200K in the second quarter, 300K in the third quarter, 350 in the last quarter. Programs are 10,000 per annum. We need to sign up 15 people the first quarter, 20, etc. In order to achieve this, we need a budget of. For advertising, we need staff members at, and we expect to make a profit of. Does this make sense for you? Okay. If you can put your objectives down like this, this makes your life a lot easier when you start looking at social media and digital marketing, because immediately here you can see, you know that you have to do X amount in your first quarter. That means that you probably have to, whatever money is coming in there, if you don't have money in the kitty, or you don't have a lot, potentially your first quarter is that money is going to go through to advertising. So you're going to use a lot of that in your advertising budget to get yourself out there, to get yourself known. You're going to be using a lot of it into your branding budget to get yourself out there, to get yourself known. If I'm using big figures here for you as a business, don't worry about it. Just work the figures according to what you want to do. However, what I did want to show you here is to make $1 million is not difficult depending on what the pricing is of your actual package. Okay, all right, so here we go. Coming back to this. So we're going to talk quickly. Nick, is there anybody else there that's popped something in the chat?
So I just lost my mouse there for a minute. No, we're all good at the moment.
All good, okay. So let's talk about personas, audience, and segmentation. And here's another little quick, and this will be the last one that I put out to you, but I really just want to catch for you. Do you know who your personas, audience, and segmentation is? So have you done segmentation, and do you understand audience demographics within and between the social media platforms? And that gives you an understanding of the different groups of people using various social media channels, so you know which channels to employ to reach those groups. 1 to 5. You've defined the channels and the audiences, so you've matched them up. 1 to 5. You monitor audience segmentation on a quarterly basis, at least. If you're bigger than and you've got more people working for you and your company is larger, you'd be monitoring that on at least a monthly basis, at least. Okay, and you've created a customer persona or an avatar. And I've got questions coming in.
So we've got some numbers coming in. So we've got a 14 there.
Right, that's good. What are the other numbers, Nick?
Nick, you're on mute.
Thanks, Jane. I just took my finger off the space bar. So 14, 14, 10, 11. And others obviously still calculating and coming through.
Okay, great. All right, I'll move on. But yeah, put your numbers into the chat and we can have a look at those. Okay. So when we talk about social media, the three things that you've got to look at is, what is your product? Who's the customer that's actually going to buy that product from you? And then where is that customer hanging out? So which social media channel is that customer, is it best for you to catch that customer? But it's also about the product, because sometimes the product is about the social media channel as well, not just the customer. So often we get hung up with it's where the customer is hanging out, and that is true. But you'll find that your product will determine who your customer is and where they're hanging out. So for example, I had somebody that was selling helicopter parts. To tell them to go on to Facebook and sell helicopter parts and things like that is just ridiculous. There's no ways that it's going to do any good for that person. Also, the sale, they'd probably have to make 1 or 2 sales and they'd be hitting their budget, they'd be hitting their target for the year. So it really is about maybe a little bit of traditional marketing with some LinkedIn, for example. But like Jane, where she's doing a lot of art, I'd be looking at her and going, depending on who your target audience is, so who you're hitting, but definitely your Instagrams, your Pinterests, your TikToks. And I would not exclude Facebook, for example, because Facebook is a huge channel. But then you have, for example, Jane Watson, who's sitting in here. And Jane Watson is a phenomenal woman. So she runs, her husband, Dean Watson, has done the Dean Watson headaches. And Jane, you can come on and tell us a little bit more. And she runs workshops for physios and things like that. So for her, it would definitely be... So a website, if you were doing membership stuff, website with membership, definitely Facebook would do really well. Facebook events, potentially a Facebook group with the physios and things like that. Then you would also look at things like your, so I wouldn't be putting too much effort in that into kind of Instagram, but Twitter could be really good, depending on where everybody is and how you are promoting, and things like LinkedIn. So I would be looking at those kind of channels. So you can see that every single business and your customer and your product, you need to look at it for where you're going to get the best bang for buck, especially if you're a small business owner, because you can get burnout if you're doing it all yourself. And most of us are doing it all ourselves if we're small businesses. And that's where you should be looking at maybe outsourcing some of it. But in outsourcing, and I'm sure Nick has discussed this with you for outsourcing, the biggest mistakes that I've seen businesses make is they haven't done that groundwork. Therefore, they try and outsource, and then they're really upset with the person they've outsourced to, because the person doesn't understand what their brand is, their brand voice, and just doesn't get it. And so it becomes harder for you because you're trying to micromanage as opposed to really letting the person experience your brand and experience who you are. Okay. So for the customer avatar worksheet, this is something that we go through in detail. This is just to give you a point of, just to give you an idea of actually creating your customer and your customer avatar and persona. And a customer avatar and persona is really creating a person that you sell to. And this is one of the most critical things that you can do in social media. You have to have your customer avatars. So create 3 to 5 of them maximum, and then that's who you sell to. So let me give you an example. I was dealing with 2 beauticians, and we were doing this customer avatar worksheet. And so the one beautician put her customer avatar as a businesswoman that is quite a high profile at work, and wants to come to the beauty salon so that she can just relax, have massages, and just have some time out from the stresses of her day. The other beautician, what she did is she said to her, no, that can't be your avatar. And she said, but that is my avatar. And she said, no, it can't be. And I said, well, what's your avatar? And she said, my avatar is the busy housewife that's got 3 children. She's just crazy running around and she just wants to get away, but she can't stay too long because she's got so much responsibility. And I said, that's great. There's no right or wrong for a customer avatar. You've just got to work out who it is that you want to target. Because how I promote and advertise to that first person is very different to how I promote and advertise to the second one. And how I create content for the first one is very different to how I create content for the second one. Does that make sense? Can you see how different that is? So, when you're talking about, because you said, Ron, with the dogs, you said it was dog psychology or pain. What was it? Just unmute yourself, Ron.
Anxiety.
Anxiety. So for dogs. So obviously your avatar is very much a person that immediately we know it's somebody that absolutely loves dogs or more than, and really takes care of their dogs and can notice that there's anxiety, right? So your avatar that you want to create, so who is that? Is that more of an older person, a younger person? And you might, again, create 2 or 3 avatars. You might have somebody in their 30s, somebody in their 40s, somebody in their 50s, but you really want to create the passion and the motivations and the pain points that they go through with their dog, with anxiety. And once you've done that, that's how you can start creating content. And that's how you start creating, that's how you start advertising or using your adverts. And then I hope that Jane, not Jane, I can't see everybody on here. Let's see who I can see here quickly. Sue, I hope that answers your question as well, because you asked about the advertising and things like that. This is the groundwork for advertising. So creating your customer avatar worksheets and things like that. And you can come on the courses and do this with me, or I'm happy to send you the worksheet and you can work through it yourself, as long as you're not distributing it out to every single person. Okay, so let's go through to the next worksheet. Oh, sorry, I did want to broach the subject here of the RSL. So who was my RSL lovely gentleman? I'm trying to find him.
Sorry, Wanita, this is Sue here. I just want to make a note about your I guess your presentation here and refer it to me. We actually have already established a customer avatar a long time ago. So we are actually very clear on which customer segments we are serving.
Good.
The issue that we're experiencing, I guess, when it comes to social media is engaging this demographic, because what we find is each demographic has a very selective preference for a type of social media.
Correct.
And what we want to do is to tailor our social media strategies and also the tone and also the activities to be able to increase their level of engagement. And that's what we're struggling with in our business.
Give me an example.
We do get some traction with clients who are serious and interested in pursuing, but it's more getting the word out there. And as you mentioned before, with brand awareness.
So Sue, just help me a little bit. Tell me what you do, and then tell me.
Sorry, the internet connection is really bad for me. I missed your question.
So Sue, you were doing the students, right? So you is that correct? So Sue, is everybody hearing me okay?
Yeah,
correct. Yes.
It's just Sue's connection.
All right.
Yes. So what my company Clue Clinical does is can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
My internet is a bit dropped.
It's okay. So Sue, I
think it's my internet connection. So I'll just type into the chat box.
That's great.
To make it easier. I try to stop the video so that it doesn't.
It's okay. And I'll try and
disconnect
help
so
you and answer
easily.
that as much as possible. But some of the things that, because you're looking at students and things like that, so obviously you do want to start looking at a strategy maybe on TikTok, definitely Instagram, but also chatbots might be a way to go. So setting up proper chatbots where you're qualifying them beforehand and asking them questions and things like that. And very clever advertising. You've got to know who your target audience is and advertise really cleverly to them. And I can go into a bit more detail with you kind of on the side if you want to, so that we give everybody a turn here. Ian, you were talking, Ian, were you with the RSL?
Yes, that was me.
Okay, and then you said also church and things like that?
Yes,
Just really quickly, so let's just start church-wise. So are you wanting to bring more customers in to church, or what is it that you want to do there?
Yes, we need more members in our congregation. It's an Anglican church I belong to.
Right.
We know there are plenty of Anglicans out there. Anglicans tend to be a bit more conservative, but we do have a Facebook. It's used more as an information disseminating tool than a recruiting tool.
Yes.
That's a bit harsh, the word recruiting. But there are other tools, email, etc. And a smarter person would be able to use other tools. TikTok, it'll be interesting to think about whether TikTok is the sort of thing that an Anglican church would use to drum up.
That will be interesting, because I haven't seen any churches on TikTok, to be very fair. So it would be interesting to test it out and see whether it does work for you or not. And if it doesn't, then don't. But one thing that I can tell you, a really good tip right now for you, and none of the churches that I see do it, I actually do it for churches when I'm driving around, is on Google Maps. Go and make sure that you've claimed your business on Google Maps, and make sure that people in your congregation are writing comments and things like that into Google Maps. And I'll tell you why, because when I arrived in Australia and I'm looking for things, I will go to Google Maps and immediately type in what I'm looking for, so church, and I'll look for all the churches in the area. And yes, in some respects, Google has put them on. In some respects, people like me have put them onto maps. But then in some respects, they're not even on maps, and you can't see anything about them. So that's a great way for you to really get out there, for people to actually see you and know that you're in the area. And then, of course, targeted Facebook advertising, where you can make it a little bit, again, it's a conservative avatar that you're talking about. So you want your targeting to be, a bit more conservative in terms of your advertising and the way you do it. But you can still have a bit of fun with it to bring people in. You don't have to push sell, and you don't have to push. You can do it in a really great way for people to know what it is that you're doing in the church. Same with the RSL. So your target audience there is obviously a little bit older. I would assume you want to grow membership there again. Which RSL are you with?
Well, I'm secretary of the Gap RSL on the
Okay.
western outskirts of Brisbane.
Great. I haven't been, and I will come and visit you. So the Cleveland RSL, for example, I walked in there and they have and this is just giving you guys ideas that may have businesses that are structured this way. So they have the RSL, they have inside it a little cafe, they have a little restaurant, and that cafe and that restaurant were not on Google at all.
Yes.
So they just have the RSL. So I've put both of them on. I've actually gone and put them on. They don't even know that I put them on. And the reason for that is because if I'm looking for a place to eat and I'm driving around, why not the RSL, for example? Those restaurants and cafes are really great. and it's just a nice, safe environment, right?
Yes.
So that's how you build your customer avatar, and that's how you then get out there to bring members in, for them to actually know what you do.
Yeah. Well, I'll
Okay.
certainly have a look at their website and their Facebook site. My particular RSL doesn't have a bar. It doesn't have poker machines.
Yeah.
And so we're at a different end of the scale, but that doesn't mean that we can't encourage people to come along and join our sub-branch.
Correct, because the RSL is about communities. So it's about bringing people together. It's about, inviting people that are new into the neighborhood. It's about building community. So when you build your customer avatar, it's the community. It's somebody that wants to come and join the community, maybe a little bit shy. And that's how you want to get the words out for that kind of customer. So can you see how each of you are really different? You just have to work out, again, what's your product, who's your customer avatar, where are they hanging out? And then it's not just that simple, but it's how do you actually communicate with them? How do you get out to them? What do you say? What kind of ads do you actually run for them? All right, I'm going to cover brand and reputation very quickly. Again, this is a whole section on its own, but just a little bit for you so that you can get some information out of here. So brand building. So this here is a little story that I want to break up quickly and tell you. So this here is an ice cream shop in Australia, in a little state of Australia. It's a family-owned ice cream shop. And really interesting what's happened here with this ice cream shop. They'd been going for about 13 years and they hadn't put their prices up. And they decided to put their prices up. So they put their prices up, I think, by about 50 cents. And it's homemade ice cream. They're really, really involved in the community. They do a lot of work in other areas of the community, support the schools, the charities, etc. So well known. And they did everything right. They let people know through social media. They sent out the emails. They did everything right. They had the notice on their shop. The day that the store opened with the new prices, there was a queue out the door, hot summer's day, no COVID, hot summer's day, and all of a sudden this woman came pushing past. She literally pushed people out the way at the door, got to the front, slammed her hand on the counter and went, "I want to see the person in charge." And so one of the family members came out and they said, "Yep, can we help you?" And she said, "I'm really disgusted. You've put your prices up. I can't believe you've done that. How are we supposed to do this and that?" And she was totally rude. And so then the owner said to her, "Well, we advertised, we did everything right. I'm really sorry you feel that way, but we really do need to do this so that our business survives, because all the ingredients and things have gone up." And she said, "Okay then, well, in that case, I'll have a strawberry ripple and a rum and raisin, and I'll have a vanilla twirl." And the shop owner looked at her and she looked at the people in the queue, and they were all giving her the stink eye to say, "If you serve this woman, we're not going to be happy." And so she made a decision there and then to go, "You know what? You need to go to the back of the queue because you really pushed through, and there were people that were waiting." And this woman flipped. She said, I'm so sick of you. I'm going to go and post this on social media." And she did. She went and took this and posted it in the community group in that area. And we all know about the community groups in an area. And so she contacted me and she said, "What do I do? What do I do?" And I said, "Okay, I'd love to hear from you guys. What would you do?" Maybe we don't have time, so I'll tell you what I told her to do. I said to her, "Do nothing." And the reason why I said do nothing is because they already had a reputation. They were already involved in the community. Anyway, that woman had put that post up. 150 comments later, she took it down. 150 comments supporting the business and telling her, some people were saying that we were in there already and you were so rude. And it actually became quite abusive and bullying towards her in the sense, and I suppose that's why she took it down. That's what you call branding and reputation management. So that's where you want to be in your business. When people talk about your business in a way that is not comfortable or not good, you want other people to stand up and go, actually, that business is amazing. And actually, I've dealt with that person and they're incredible. So that's when you talk about brand and reputation. So brand is not your logo and your colors and all of that. That's brand collateral. Your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. So how do people talk about you online when you're not around? And it's what customers say about you consistently. So do customers say consistently, you're great, you're amazing? Or is there a variation? Okay. And when you talk about brand through social media, your brand has to flow across all your social media channels. So in everything that you do, you've got to make sure that there's visual consistency in social media and through digital marketing. And you've got to use your brand voice consistently. So when I talk about visual consistency, I genuinely come across a company that will have a Twitter account, a Facebook account, a LinkedIn account, and they'll have different covers up on every single one of them with different words on every single one of them. Their about sections are all different. You will lose people that won't know who you are. So be consistent. Your about section on your website should be the same on your Facebook page, should be the same on your Twitter account. You can't do too much on your Instagram, but just some keywords on that. But so that the person knows that they're hitting the same place, LinkedIn the same. So the consistency across should be exactly the same. And the reason for that is, in social media, there is so much going on. People are seeing things at a rapid rate. They're taking in information really, really quickly. They'll see your business and then it goes out of their mind. If they see your business on another channel and it looks completely different, they don't register it as the same business. So you've lost an opportunity there of them seeing you twice or 3 times, where they've seen you once. They've seen 3 different businesses. So what you want to do is make sure it's consistent. So if they're seeing your LinkedIn, then your Facebook, then your Twitter account, they're seeing all 3 of them and they're going, oh, this business is all over. So make sure that it is consistent. All right, brand voice. Do you guys know what brand voice is? Because again, this is one of the most critical things in social media. And I know that 80% of businesses don't do this. And I'm happy to go through a whole exercise for brand voice, or you can come on one of the strategy workshops. But really simply, it's this grid over here. It's a descriptor, it's what it is, and it's what it isn't. So for example, if you say your brand voice is that we're fun, then I want to know what fun means to you, and I want to know what fun doesn't mean to you. If you say that we are professional, tell me what that means to you and tell me what that doesn't mean. This document is incredibly important to hand over to an outsourced person so that they understand when they are creating content for you, how they create content. And let me give you an example. So there's a lovely restaurant in the USA that is, they are rude. Exceptionally rude. Their Facebook page is rude. The owner of the place has got a major sarcasm. And when I first went to the page, I was like, are you kidding me? I would never come to this restaurant ever. But then I started reading it and I started reading the comments, and the comments were thoroughly enjoying the rudeness and the sarcasm. And so what I realized that that was their brand voice. The brand voice that owner decided to choose was to be rude and sarcastic. And so he would have put that in, and you wouldn't see any swearing along there, but he can be quite rude and sarcastic, not aggression. So that might have been a what isn't it for him. But the what is it is I can snark back and I can tell you that I don't care whether you like my food or not, etc. that company on social media has grown exponentially. It's just crazy. People love it. And they go there just to be treated rudely. But that's their brand. So can you see when I say to you, there's no right or wrong. Choose what it is that you want to do, what's your brand, and then live by it. That's what you've got to do. So if you want to be one of those people that stand up and swear and carry on, you know that you're going to lose certain people with it. That's okay, because you'll gain certain people from it. If that's your brand, that's your brand. Me personally, I wouldn't do that, and I probably would never connect with that. But there is no right or wrong. It's just not my cup of tea, right? So here's a brand voice example of a restaurant business. So they went into, and I just shown you two of them. They went into that I'm caring and I'm authentic. This particular restaurant, brilliant. They do a lot of recycling, eco-friendly. They're very, very much about their people, etc. So you can see what isn't. They speak about diligence, paying attention to the needs of the customers, making a fuss, environmental awareness, etc. What does authentic mean? And you can see what it isn't. So this is when you do brand voice. This is what you put together. Why is this important? Because when I'm talking to somebody online or creating content, I'm not going to create content that's vague or disengaged or unfocused, unwelcoming or unfair or argumentative. I'm also going to create content where I might make a fuss about a customer. I might say that we had a difficult situation, but I do it in a caring way. Can you see how this is so important for brand voice? So if I'm in TikTok, I could either be going, oh, I had a terrible situation with this difficult customer and, oh, you know, they just drove me totally nuts. Or I could say, in a caring way, I had such an amazing customer that was finding it really difficult to read our menu. And so one of the things that we helped them with was to do XYZ. Can you see that I've even changed my voice? I've slowed it down. I've become more caring with my voice. So in video, all of that means something when you're talking about brand, how you do it. Okay, just giving you some examples. Can you tell me what, this is an Instagram account. Can you tell me what this Instagram account brand-wise represents? Have a go. And Nick can tell us what you say. What is this Instagram account about?
All right, we're waiting for some comments.
What have you got?
Nothing yet. Oh, here we are. Motorcycle wear.
Yep.
A dog bikey.
Yeah. Okay, both of you are wrong. In the nicest possible way. This is actually a motel, and this is how you don't do it. So interestingly enough, you can see here that there's nothing about the hotel, there's nothing about the people, there's nothing. You've just got the dog. And so I've had people say it's about the dog bibs, it's about the motorcycles, it's about the bags, whatever. You can see here when you're creating content, the content needs to be about what you're doing, your product. The dog could have been used really cleverly here throughout the hotel. So put the dog on the bed, you know, take a video of the dog doing something on the bed, put the dog at the reception desk, put the dog, you know, at the pool. You can use the dog as a mascot throughout, but you can see the photos here don't even depict what it's about. So this is what I'm saying. Be very, very aware of what you do in your social media and your content. Can you tell me what this one is about? Quick.
All right.
What have we got?
A travel business?
Yes, that's correct. Can you see that you could actually see that that's what it's about? It's got the photos, the person, what they do. It's beautiful. Okay. All right, just quickly going down to advertising campaigns because we don't have a lot of time left here. But when you're doing advertising campaigns, there are 3 types of advertising campaigns that you want to look at: short-term, project campaigns, and evergreen. So a short-term advertising campaign is something that you run really, really quickly. This one is a quick example that Starbucks ran for only 1 week. It was the unicorn frappuccino. That's all they did, 1 week. They used the hashtag the unicorn frappuccino, and they got 155,000 Instagram posts shared, and you can see they've got 655,000 likes on that. That's Starbucks, right? But for you as a small business, where we talk about really short term would be things like if you were selling a product really quickly. So there's a lovely company that don't have a website at all, and all they do is use Instagram. They sell cupcakes. All they do is use Instagram. They target in their area. They let people know. They put photos up on Instagram of their cupcakes, a little story of the cupcakes they target, and those cupcakes are sold out by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They close shop. They do not have a website. So different model, different way of doing things. So short-term advertising, really where something is quick. So if you are doing a competition, that would be a short-term kind of a thing, unless you running a competition for a long time, but you shouldn't be. It should be really short-term. Okay, then you have things like project. Project is where you're doing things like training. So if you are putting, like the conference for me, when we run the conference, it's about a 9-month project, and we advertise out from, we work backwards from the 9 months, and we set up our advertising right back. And that advertising will change, and we'll present different speakers and do different things. These are short courses that we run here, and the advertising on this is 6 weeks out. It's still a project because we still project manage it through what we're going to do week by week and how we're going to do it, how we're going to post, etc. And then of course we have evergreen. And you can see I'm at a green screen for you. But an evergreen ad is something you all should be doing. It's an ad that you put together about your business. So it's not selling a particular product or a service. It's just talking about your business and giving an overview, and run that all the time and take them back to your website so that they can learn more. So an evergreen, if you do run a specific product, so for example, the dog anxiety, run that as an evergreen ad. And the beauty of an evergreen ad is that you can switch it on and off as you need to. And the beauty of that is if you start the evergreen ad now, and let's say 20 people have liked it and you've got 5 comments, and you switch it off for a month and you switch it back on again, those 20 people that have liked and the comments are still there, and it just keeps growing. So eventually it looks like you've got a lot of people that are interested in your ad, where you're just switching it on and off. Okay. All right, just the models. I have actually taken you through quite a bit of the models already, so I covered that previous to that, but just quickly, Facebook demographics at the moment, 2.6 billion people using it. You should all be on Facebook. What you need to do now on Facebook is not so much a social media person telling you should all be on Facebook, but what you should be working out is where on Facebook you should be. So for example, a lot of my work I do now in groups as opposed to on my page. So I go in and do a lot. I've got massive groups that I run of business owners. And so a lot of my work comes from that because I'm having these conversations and dealing with them and talking to them. But if I use my page now, I don't do as much content on that as much as I do advertising. So you asked the question previously on, you know, without getting fatigued, how do I put myself out there? And things have changed. So things change constantly. That might not be the case anymore, but, you know, in a few months' time. But right now, that's kind of working. So know where you need to be on Facebook. Facebook Messenger, brilliant. Facebook chatbots are really great if you want to run your business through chatbots and just automate it. And you can see the reason why. I've got a question. Nick, what is my question?
No question here at the moment.
I thought it just popped up there. Australia, you can see over here, Instagram is huge in Australia. 38 8.1% of the entire population use Instagram. And if you know that some of that population are 13-year-olds and under, because you can't sign up to a social media channel unless you're older than 13 years old. So, you know, I would kick that more towards the 50% of people are on Instagram. The demographic you can see is still 25 to 34 here in Australia, but in other countries, the demographic is a little bit higher now as well. You've definitely got people in their 40s and 50s coming through. I did see something flashing. TikTok. At the moment, TikTok have got 850 million active users. TikTok is one of the fastest growing platforms at this moment in time. And in Australia, it is incredible to see how businesses are using it. And I know that Michael did a whole presentation on TikTok a few weeks ago. So you can go back and have a look at that if you want to. YouTube is brilliant. YouTube have got a live video now as well. So you can do YouTube lives, really amazing. And also with YouTube, you can now obviously put your videos in both horizontal and vertical. It's not just horizontal anymore. So YouTube have obviously moved on. So live videos. And when I was talking earlier about Google Places, Google My Business, definitely make sure that you're on there and make sure that you're telling your customers to review you. And if they are reviewing you, make sure that you're going back and commenting and giving information back to them. Even if it's not a good review, go back and explain what, or apologize, or do whatever you need to do. So reviews, Google reviews are very important. If you don't know how to do Google reviews, connect with me. I have another business that just does Google and Apple setting you up with that. Okay. Twitter. I know a lot of people, especially here in Australia, well, I say that, but I've been on Twitter now, and there are a lot of Australians that are actually on Twitter and do actually use it quite extensively. Twitter has been incredibly powerful for the COVID responses, having the conversations, the elections, anything happening, rolling out in, with the government, anything to do with education. As I said again, you can see here, this is about the COVID vaccine rollout, etc. So don't underestimate the power of Twitter. It is very much about having the conversations and being there. If people are looking for something, the search on Twitter, you might feel like you're doing things and it's not working for you. But when you put things in the search in Twitter, people will find you. And then, of course, LinkedIn. So don't underestimate the power of LinkedIn. It's brilliant for you if you really want to connect with business people. I've got more on my advertising, even though LinkedIn advertising is higher cost. I've got more responses for the social media conferences from LinkedIn than from Facebook. So try out and see what works for you. Okay. And then just the customer experience channels, really quickly, they're very important. You've got a customer sales channel and a customer experience channel. Customer sales channels are where you're channeling out for people to buy things. Nothing works in isolation. So how it works is you will have your social media page up. You'd have your website. You would put something onto your social media, which would link back to your website so that people can buy through your website. Or you can let them buy directly on your Facebook page. You can do that as well. That advert can be Facebook, it can be LinkedIn, it can be Instagram, it can be TikTok. And then you can have, in this case here, I just wanted to show you the social media conference. You can see what we did is we put a sales funnel into the actual social media account where we had people could come in, click and actually book tickets straight away. And then, so you can see that part over there. And then we did the same thing where during the conference and after, they could rate the speakers and things like that straight up. This is all done live in the chat of the actual Facebook page. So instead of having an app you can do all of this in your chat in Facebook and have people connect, and you send them information through chat, even after the conference. So it's a really great way of doing it. But again, email marketing still works. It's still very powerful, etc. That's it. I think I have done. Sure. I'm sorry, Nick. I'm over by about 7 minutes.
Awesome. No,
Sorry.
that was excellent. I'm still sort of going back to some of the things that you talked about, and chatting to my team about our social media strategy and some of the things we need. So great information. We have got a question here. Jane has got a question there. Do you want to unmute and ask that?
Yeah, thanks very much, Wanita. That's been excellent tonight. You've covered a lot in a short amount of time. You've done really well with that.
Thank you.
I don't think you lost anyone with that either. You kept it nice and slow for us all. My question was just in regards to TikTok. What audience, like age group, do you think is actually on TikTok? Because I just assumed that is the young audience, and are they avatar?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I've been lurking on TikTok for a while, and the reason why I lurk is because I do a lot of research. So I want to watch a platform and see how it evolves, how it changes, because every single platform evolves and changes. Facebook started out with a really young audience. Instagram did as well. So for TikTok, it started out with a very, very young audience, and there's still a lot of them on there. So, I mean, really young. I think this is the Gen, what are they calling them now? The Gen Ms, I think. Yes, because there's a new generation now, guys, in case you didn't know, after Gen Z. And so it's more that audience, and they're really young. So some of them are even like 10 years old going down. So I'm not sure what the age restriction on TikTok is.
My daughter's on it. She's 11.
Yeah. So however, in saying that, what I have watched, so initially when TikTok started a little bit of a while back, but it really was all the dance. It moved from Music Live to TikTok, and Music Live was just a music dancing kind of app, and I was on that as well. So it progressed from that and was definitely a younger audience. What I have seen happen with TikTok over the last 6 to 12 months is the content has changed. And so there's an older audience coming on, and that audience is really amazing, because now what they're doing is sharing. It's no longer just about dancing. They're sharing information about their business. They're sharing information about, what they do. So like there's a guy on there by the name of Jamie from Australia, and he just talks about narcissistic abuse, and he helps women through narcissistic abuse. And all his TikToks are just about that. He has got a huge following. There's a lovely woman that talks about her small business, and she shows you how she does her wrapping and everything else. There's another woman that does resin art. So she shows you exactly how she makes her resin art. She's got the link to her website in TikTok, and you just go and buy. It's such a good, quick way of buying, because people can actually see what you're doing. So, so in terms of your demographic, definitely higher. And now there's hashtags that you use in TikTok. So you'll use hashtag over 40, hashtag over 50, hashtag over 60. There's a lot of people.
Right. All right. Lovely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Another channel for you, Jane.
Yeah.
I'd say it should be one of your priority channels for what you do, Jane.
Well, we had a guest on a month ago, Michael.
I introduced him.
Yeah, and so I've written a page of notes from that, and I did actually upload TikTok to my phone, and I did put a couple of videos up, but then it just sort of like went by the wayside again. So I'll look into it again.
Yeah. And it won't be for all of you. So, don't think all of you have to do it. Just know what your business objectives are and how you move out to those business objectives. There's another question.
Yes, there is. Ron, I think, has got a question.
Yes, Wanita, just going back to Facebook, and while you're giving the presentation, my thoughts were, actually identifying where customers and my audience are. And but one thing with Facebook, and you mentioned groups, there are a lot of specialty groups of pet owners or dog owners with particular problems, anxiety and such like that.
Yes.
Now, I've been on those groups, just listening to people's comments to try and sort of get a bit of a gauge of how to address issues.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, what's a good etiquette to actually make a business comment on a group? Because a lot of groups have rules and they don't want campaigns launched on their groups or
Yes.
businesses promoted or such like that.
Absolutely, 100%. My groups are like that. You can't come in and promote your business and just put yourself out there. And it does depend on how the group has been set up. So you'll generally find that groups that are not about advertising, there's a lot of groups that are advertising groups, and you can just go and pop your link in there, and that I find that those groups have got very low engagement. They don't work very well. Where you've got a group like you talking about, Ron, where there's a lot of people asking questions and everything else, there's a few things you can do. The first thing is go and search in the search bar in those groups for anything to do with anxiety. So, dog anxiety. Have a look at what people have posted. So what's the question that they've asked? And then just answer the question without promoting. So answer the question. Say, this is something that you can do. This is how you can do it, etc. You can then put a comment like, if you'd like to know more, let me know. But don't go, I'll PM you. That's non-etiquette in a group. And don't go PM me. So unless they've specifically asked for that. So really look at it. But I would say to you, all you do is just go in and help. Let people get to know, this is part of your brand building and your reputation building. When you're in groups and you're helping and you're making comments and things like that, people get to know you, and they get to know you for what you are a professional at.
Some of the groups are professional, like in veterinarians and
Yes.
and I'm not a veterinarian, but I certainly have knowledge that probably they don't quite know much about at the moment. So I suppose really what I'm saying is I've got a little bit of, I'm just treading cautiously, because I have actually been in a group and sort of came out with a particular statement that was not generally accepted.
You did, or they did?
No, I made a correct statement. But
yes.
The thing is, with pet owners, they're opinionated.
Yes, of course. So I think that's part of that, Ron, is building your credibility. So when you're going in and making a statement like that straight up front, people don't know who you are. They don't. So I did a test the other day, because obviously I'm fairly well known, I think, in Australia, but not in Brisbane per se. I'm more well known in Melbourne because I traveled there a lot, in Adelaide and things like that. So I did a test the other day in the Brisbane group, and I put a comment up there, and it was really interesting. It was one of the most liked comments and everything else, but it was so interesting to see how people perceived it. They perceived that I was actually going into business as a social media person, and so they were wishing me luck and everything else, where I was actually giving them advice. But I did it in such a way that it was kind of quirky. And that's what you can do, and you can perceive. So what my perception there was is that people don't know me well enough yet. So I've got to do a little bit more to build my reputation and everything in there. So it doesn't matter how long you've worked, how much you're out there and how much people have seen you and know you. There are definitely areas that people won't know you. And certainly in Facebook groups, you'll be a nothing until you are working those groups and commenting and everything else. And I think just be careful as well on how you come across as well. So really just be self-aware, because I've come across people that go, I gave advice, but when you look at it, it's like they're really just telling the person what to do. We're asking some questions and, you know, starting a conversation where the person's actually talking to you goes a really long way, as opposed to just popping something down and going, this is the answer. Ask a few more questions, like, you know, what do you mean by that? How's the dog reacting if you do that? And then give yourself credibility in your comments to say things like, oh, I've been working with dog anxiety for the last, 10 years.
Oh, okay.
You know, put that down. I've been working with dog anxiety for the last 10 years. What I've found is, and then you pop it in.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like to.
It gives you your credibility.
Yes. Yeah, because I sort of get a little bit carried away and write too much.
Yeah. I see a lot of people do that in groups. They want to overshare, give too much. Remember conversation. There's a conversation cycle. Talk, ask, listen, respond. So talk a little bit, then ask a question, then listen to what somebody's saying and then respond. Then you can go to a question, listen, respond, then talk, etc. Just the conversation cycle. I love using it in social media. It's one of the things I teach in there. Any other questions?
All right. Well, we're sort of getting towards the end. Maybe we've got time for one more question, and then we better do the prize draw and wrap up. By the sound of things, people could stay for quite a while. Really interesting topic. So thanks, Wanita. So Sue says, thanks for the great presentation. The question is, how do you build a brand when you're brand new?
And that's a great question. It takes time. So it takes time, but if you want to be ballsy, you can actually do it really quickly. Do any of you know Neil Patel? So you know him?
Yep.
Neil Patel is pretty switched on there, or he's well known for his search engine optimization, and that's what he talks on. But Neil Patel was a total unknown, and I watched him as an upcoming. He was a total unknown. What he did was very clever. He put out a campaign, a branding campaign, with a question mark on all over, and he went, "Who is Neil Patel?" And that was it. So these conversations started about who is Neil Patel? Like, who is he? What does he do? And then he continued with that campaign with something else. Like, this is who Neil Patel is. So you can actually get very well known, from a brand point of view, if you put yourself out there very quickly and you ballsy about it. And I think you really do have to be a bit ballsy. I say that because the Tai Lopez is as well. Tai Lopez was a nothing, and then put himself out with all these cars and airplanes and things like that. And I don't even know whether he had them at the time, but that's how he put himself out there and promoted himself, and people just loved it and grew. So I wouldn't do that, because that's not who I am. But I could do the Neil Patel one, like that I really love, because that's quite, it's quite fun and funky. Like, who is Wanita Z? Maybe I'll do that. And then you could all spread the word, who is Wanita Z? So building your brand and reputation, if you're doing it, just make sure you're consistent. Make sure that you actually do have your brand voice in place. Make sure that you are consistently posting, you're doing advertising, and you're getting out there to your target audience. And then don't just use social media and digital marketing. Go and use traditional marketing works as well. I like to use them in combination. So definitely, if you can get onto TV, national TV, and talk about yourself and your brand, do it. It's great. If you can get into a national magazine, all of that comes back in anyway, where it shows reputationally you're great. Because when I started this talk, I know that a lot of you don't know me. Dougie knows me really well. Jane Watson knows me really well. And I'm sure they'll attest to me. But a lot of you here don't know me very well. So what I did is I opened up from a brand point of view in this talk, and I showed you what I've done. That immediately builds the credibility. Then what you're getting, somebody that is not just been around for a short while and trying to figure it out. I haven't been an accountant and now I'm moving into social media. I've been doing this for a while. I've been doing this when Facebook started the advertising in the most rudimentary way. I've seen the changes. I've been part of it. I've got connections at Facebook and Google and everything else. So it is but you didn't know that. So I just build my brand and reputation. If I'm doing a presentation, you'll see it's consistent. I don't know if you've noticed that. You go to my website, these are the colors. If you go to the Facebook page, these are the colors. So it's consistent. And just be out there.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thanks very much for your time tonight, Wanita. There's lots of really positive comments coming in chat. So I think you've really hit a chord tonight. And hopefully, with some of those templates and the information you've shared, that has helped everyone here to think about their social media strategy, their branding, what platforms they're using. I mean, it's almost overwhelming, but you've really put it in a way that has simplified it. And it really is just about spending some time to go and do the work. So thanks very much.
Nick, what I did want to add there is you need to take the time and do it. So take a day out and do it. I am running a workshop in the Gold Coast at the end of next week. And if you want, I can send you the details, Nick, and you can get it out to everyone.
Look, I'm happy to do that.
So if you want to come and join me for a day and actually do your whole strategy and put it together, come.
Have you got a link for that, Wanita, that we can just...
Yes, I'll send it to you. Nick, I didn't want to give it to you beforehand because obviously this is your group and I didn't want to be rude in your group.
That's
so,
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask permission if I could.
So what we'll do is happy to post it out into the Business Owners Smashing It Online Facebook group. So if you are interested, just make sure you're a member of that. We will put it out there, and if anyone misses it, just let me know, and either a messenger or Facebook, and we'll give you that link as well too.
Great, thank you very much.
Excellent. All right. Do you want to unshare your screen there, Wanita?
Yes. Let me stop sharing.
Then we shall do the prize draw. So let's give Wanita one of those silent claps, or you can unmute and give us a hand.
Oh wait, there's even a camera there. No, it's the light. Thank you, Mary.
Okay, and let's do the prize draw as well too. Do you want to tell us about what you're giving away tonight, Wanita?
Yeah. So I obviously do the social media strategy and digital strategy training courses, which is different, but I actually work with business owners to set up their social media and digital marketing strategy one-on-one. So we work together on that, and that's generally a whole day as well. I'm doing a mini session with that so we can get through most of the things to help you move forward. So one person gets a mini session of 3 hours with me. It's valued at $600 Australian dollars, and we'll work together. Who wants to win it?
Me.
Okay.
All
so
right.
The spinner is going.
So
this
we
is so
have
cool.
our usual way of drawing it. So the way that it works is you have to be here to win. Anyone who's ducked out early, we redraw it. So let's spin the wheel and drum roll and see who it is.
Ta-da-da-da.
Boom, 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 boom. Margaret Stewart. Is Margaret still here? Let's just have a look through the participants. If you're here, Margaret, just unmute yourself. I think Margaret's ducked away early, so...
Oh, Margaret lost out.
All right, well, let's redraw it.
Oh, this is so cool. So Margaret's name actually disappears off there.
Yes, yes.
Oh, I like this tool.
And the winner is Ian. Ian Minns. Are you here, Ian?
I certainly am.
You are.
Woo! There we go.
I'm looking forward to it.
So Ian, if you connect with me, so all of you that are on here, please connect with me on Facebook. You're very welcome to connect and, ask questions and things like that. Really happy to help you out. And then Ian, if you connect with me and we'll set up a time.
Excellent. Well, congratulations. That sounds like it'll be really helpful for you. And you asked a lot of questions at the beginning, so I think there's a lot of value in that as well too. So for everybody else, if you want to connect with Wanita, what's the best way to do that?
So you can link with me on LinkedIn or Facebook. Just find me. I have an unusual surname, so the Wanita ZOGHBY, you can find that. Yeah, and if you look on Nick's profile, I'm there as well. I'm a friend of his.
Yes, yeah. Excellent. Well, look, thanks once again, Wanita. That has been an absolutely fabulous evening.
Thanks, Alan.
Myself and my team have got so much work to do now, but it's great time because we've got to set our social media strategy amongst all the other things for the next year. We've already started doing that already. So thanks very much.
But remember, social media is part of, not
everything.
Separate to, yeah.
All right, so a couple of announcements. We have office hours tomorrow, which is at 10 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Everybody is welcome to join. Office hours is a no speaker, no agenda. Just come and bring a topic. Bring a glass of, I was going to say a glass of wine, but yeah, if you want to do that. But normally a cup of coffee, or this is like our casual cafe sort of chat, but we're online, ready to discuss any topics around our business and the online side of things. So I would suspect that some of tonight is going to sort of feature in some of the topics that we discuss tomorrow. So the link is in the chat there to come and join that. It's office hours and yeah, open to everyone. The other one too is YouTube. If you want to see this presentation again, it will be up on the YouTube channel by around the end of tomorrow, depending on how quickly we can get it uploaded. But go and like or subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you will get a notification as soon as it's up there. So the link for that YouTube channel is just in chat now as well. Have I missed anything else out? I've got Lorena and JM, my team there, just telling me everything I've got to remember for tonight. And I think we've got it all. All right, no, that's all good. So again, thanks everyone for sticking around. This is there's been a session through to 8 o'clock, so we're a bit later, but it's been well worth it. So no, that's all good. It's been well worth it. So thank you very much again, Wanita. Thanks everyone for turning up, and look forward to seeing you again next week. So same time, same channel, and go out and have an awesome week. Thank you for tuning in and listening to the Business Owners Smashing It Online podcast. You can also find me on social media and online. Just search for Business Owners Smashing It Online and Nick Cree, spelled Nikree, all one word. If you like this and want to hear more, subscribe now. Until next time, don't be a slave to your business. Get your business working for you.